Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder, and I've got yet another AITA story for you. This one is, am I the astronaut for telling my stepson that his kids weren't my responsibility? My wife was a lot younger than me, and she had a 10-year-old son when we met. Her ex had shared custody. I had a couple of grown children from my first wife. My stepson Charlie and I never really bonded. He had a father, and he made it clear I wasn't his parent, just his mom's husband. I respected this. He was always polite and respectful, just distant. I helped pay for his university when he went, and we attended his graduation. When he got married, our invitation was made out to his mother plus one. That was kind of a slap in the face, but we still attended and gave them a substantial cash gift to start their life. The thank you card didn't have my name on it. Go ahead and fly some of these here. My first wife had passed away from cancer, and it broke me. I didn't want to go through that again. Her youth was one thing that attracted me to my second wife. I know it was selfish, but I liked having a beautiful young wife to take care of, and she liked me well enough. I didn't realize how much I loved her until she died. She passed away from a stroke. She was 49. Charlie came to the funeral with his family, his wife, whom I had only met at the wedding, and his kids. We had known he had kids, but he had never made the effort to bring them for a visit. My wife loved the kids, but Charlie wouldn't make the effort to come see us. My wife only had a very small estate, and she left it all to Charlie. He also took almost everything of sentimental value that she owned before we got married. I didn't begrudge him any of it. My first grandchild just graduated cum laude last year, and I went to his graduation. My son and his wife have worked hard to get their kids into college, and I'm proud of them. My son mentioned that my grandson had a job waiting and would be debt-free pretty quick. I asked how much he owed. Then I wrote him a check to pay it off. I plan to do this for all of my grandchildren. I guess my daughter-in-law and stepson's wife are Facebook friends or something. He found out what I did, and he came around to ask if I plan to do the same for his children. Shocking. I don't really have any connections to his kids. I don't see them. They don't consider me their grandfather. I've personally only ever seen them at the funeral. I was really put off by him coming by to ask about money after ignoring me for years. I know that if my wife were alive, she would want me to help out her son. It just felt dirty. I said that I had money for them in my will, and if they needed it for the university, I would give it to them early. He said I'm a petty little man and that his mom would be ashamed of me for treating his kids like this. I don't really think I owe them anything. They have a real grandfather. I'm only including them in my will for my wife's sake. So, am I the asshole? Woof. So in this case, I think the son made the decision early on to create this distance and this boundary. He created this boundary that put him in the position to not have that connection between his stepdad, and I'm calling him stepdad here instead of bonus dad because he very much treated him like a stepdad, his mom's husband, instead of having some kind of bond or relationship with him that carried through to his kids. He created that wall. Later on, he kept that wall up. The only thing that made him want to consider changing it was money. And I think people who do that, people who treat people like crap until it comes time that they want money from them, are just garbage humans. That's it. I think if you're going to treat someone like trash until you want money from them, you're a piece of shit. That's the simple short of it in my mind here. OP even feels conflicted about this though. He says he's already left money for them in his will, and that's for his wife's sake, but his wife, when she passed, had left a small estate to the son. So he had that to apply toward whatever he wanted for his kids there. So what his mom had to give was already given. Now he's coming directly to his stepdad, who he very early on said he wanted nothing to do with and wouldn't even put his name on the wedding invitation, called him a freaking +1. But now it's like, oh, you're gonna give some money to my kids now because you gave money to your grandkids, so, you know? No, hell no. And OP still says, I included them in the will. If they need it early, I can do that. And this guy's response is, you're a petty little man and my mom would be ashamed of you. Okay, then I guess the answer's no, and I'm gonna leave now. Bye-bye. I'm going with NTA on this. Not the asshole. This sucks. And how shitty to be treated like that for so long and then have this. It's like, well, I guess you're being consistent about treating me shitty forever. At least you're consistent. So I have a feeling that he's leaving money for the grandkids. He might have left money for Charlie in there too. Maybe not. We also have to think that the grandkids, Charlie's kids, didn't do anything here. So I wouldn't remove them from the will. I would make sure that Charlie is not included in there at all. But Charlie's kids didn't do anything. They weren't assholes. They didn't create this boundary and treat this man like shit. So I understand him leaving them in there. But yeah, wait till they're at the age where they can receive it directly without their dad getting involved or getting his hands on it at all, because we know enough about him at this point to say that he can't be trusted. Charlie, you're an ascon 1 here, bro. That's a terrible, terrible way to treat a human being. You treat them like trash, create a boundary, and then years later be like, oh, yeah, money. So you got some for me? +1? Shit thing to do to someone. So OP has had to go through the loss of 2 spouses, and now has this kid just kick him in the gut one last time. Cool. Thanks. He's not going through enough.